Weather Impact Live. I'm 10 Tampa Bay Chief Meteorologist Bobby Deskins.
And I'm 10 Tampa Bay Meteorologist Colleen Campbell.
And we're talking tropics
because
raise your hand, how many people have seen all the stuff on the internet about the tropics? Well, I mean, look, it is something that we have to watch. The Hurricane Center has now hatched an area in the Western Caribbean, what we've been talking about, right?
Yeah.
They're saying, okay, this wave that is way out there in the Atlantic.
Right.
In fact, let's put a measure on it. The wave right now, well, let's do it from the Western Caribbean. All right, 27, almost 2,800 miles away. All right, that's just the wave. It's not a storm. It's not named something. At this point, it's not even an invest, which means we don't have spaghetti plots running on it, right? We don't have all those models specifically running on that location. So eventually we will get there, but that's probably going to take 3-4 days before, well, maybe 2 to 3 days before we even get to there. Okay, so what do you think, Colin? You think maybe they do an invest on that soon?
I think, yeah, maybe as it gets a little bit closer. First, it has to get out of the Atlantic and get into the Caribbean to begin with. But
yeah. Well, I mean, I do think they'll do an invest somewhere out in here, so maybe it's a day away or so.
Right.
It kind of looks at how organized it is. Notice these numbers here. All right, so the top number is the first 48 hours. All right, 0% chance of this thing developing or of anything. Right? Don't you agree? She agrees.
I agree.
20% chance as we get into the next, say, days 3 through 7. Okay, and that is basically here. There's Barbados. So really anywhere from here all the way over to here. Okay, that's the 20% chance right now. All right, now another organization of NOAA says it's about 40 to 60% chance in here, and we'll show you that coming up. But this is typical. This is the areas that we watch, right? If you look at the wave itself, it's really this area here more than anything else.
yeah. A lot of convection to the south, to the north, not so much.
Exactly. And then you've got this leading wave that's out here, which I don't really think is part of this, but what this does is this moistens up the atmosphere. So any dry air that's sitting out there is going to get eaten up by this, and that just makes the environment for this a little bit better.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and you don't see a ton of shear. I think we obviously have a little bit of northerly shear here that's pushing everything off to the south. You can see that drifting southward. And that's why Colleen was saying that everything's mainly south of that. But that's it, okay? That's all it is right now. It's not panic time. Here's the European forecast model, all right? Now let's watch this. You can see it moving west across the Caribbean. This is October 24th, which means it's a week from tomorrow. So that's 8 days out, right? That's right? Yeah, 8 days out. So we don't know anything really 5 days and under. 5 days we're kind of questioning, but you get 7, 8, 9, 10 days out and you're looking at a forecast model that is going to change. I guarantee you it will change. Now, is it a subtle change or is it a major change? Because at one point the European yesterday had it coming on into the Central American area in the Yucatan and then coming out and slamming Tampa, all right, in the real long model range. Now it takes it out across Cuba or even Hispaniola.
Yes.
All right. So if we went by yesterday's model runs, which was 9-10 days out, right, we'd be panicking. And if we go by today's, we'll be like, it's probably going to be okay. But today's is going to change as well. And so what we do here, and that's why we're on here 5 days a week now, is showing you basically every day what it looks like and explaining how that difference can happen, how that change is likely to happen in the forecast. So that's the European. Let's look at the GFS. Now, before I show you this,
gets interesting.
Yeah, but is the how well does the GFS do, Colin?
Yeah,
with
I
this
know.
Stuff?
It likes to be a little spunky sometimes.
It doesn't do very well. But I like this, except for our friends in Puerto Rico. All right, because what it does is it comes all the way across, gets it in here, and then goes up and out. All right? The European comes in weak, forms it here, and then yesterday was coming up towards Tampa. The thing kind of does something like this. I will tell you that this time of the year, the odds of us getting a track that just comes and does something like that is probably lower than something that comes and comes up, then goes over, and then comes up and goes like this. Because we have fronts coming through, and there's high pressure sitting behind it. All right, and so this thing tries to go up, but it can't because the high comes through, so it goes over. Then the next front comes through, and that's what you're seeing right here. And so then that would pull it in here. Look, this is getting messy, I know. But it goes something like this, right? Now that's not what any of the models are saying right now, but that little step that you go from, you try to come out and then you can't, you get blocked, so you come to the west, then you come up and out. Those types of things this time of year are possible because we have the high pressures building in with those fronts. But the bottom line right now is the 16th. This is the 25th. So 9 days away, and you've got one model that says it's out here, and you've got another that says it's over here.
Yep.
Okay, so when you go online and you see somebody showing something that looks like it's bad for the United States somewhere, don't believe that yet, okay? I will also say that the AI models are kind of in this area in here. Some of them do go further to the west, but then they kind of maybe get here south of Jamaica, which is right there, and then turn and come out to the north and the east. So when I came in this afternoon, I watched it in the morning. I watched it all day. But I kind of compare when I come in the afternoons here to coming in the afternoon tomorrow and the day before, that type of thing. It looks better for us today than what it did yesterday. All right? For whatever that's worth, that's going to change. So here's a lot of text, all right? A lot to read, but I want you to read the top one because that's where we are. 7+ days out, all right? We're talking
that you are here.
8, 9, 10, right? Yeah. And this is very generic, I know, but general idea that something might develop or affect somewhere. And that somewhere we think is in the Western Caribbean, might develop somewhere in the Central or Western Caribbean. All right, now where it affects could be anywhere from Puerto Rico all the way to the United States, Florida included, okay? When we get to 5 to 7 days, we're starting to get a little bit better. Now, 5 to 7 days is going to be this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. All right, so we'll be really watching the models then to see if they're starting to show more of a trend, okay? Because it's still too soon, but starts to narrow down any specific details. 3 to 5 days out, which would be basically Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, likely to have a track. Okay, so if something does develop with this, we would get a cone sometime late this weekend or the beginning of next week. All right, it's Thursday. We have plenty of time, nothing right there. Here's a better way to look at it. And this is from NOAA as well, and they put this out on Tuesday, and they have about a 40 to 60% chance, you see that in there, 40% chance of development somewhere in here. This time of year, depending on where the high pressures and the fronts are up above us, up above this and up above us, it can come up and out, like the GFS and some A models sound. Yeah. It can come into the Gulf, all right? If it stays weak, it'll go right into Central America and continue off towards the west.
Yeah, yep.
And what was it, Ada? I think Ada did something in 2020, was all looping around.
Yes.
And was even going to come on in Central America and then came back and then went out. All right, and that's why I say, like, I think even once we get a cone, if we get a cone, let's put it that way, it's not going to be an easy forecast. So trying to figure out what this thing's going to do 10 days out is just not a thing to do. You need to know that the water's warm and that you need to be prepared still. I know it feels much better outside. We got that drier air, but we're still in hurricane season. Look at all that purple you see down there. That is very warm water. And in fact, we've got the water's cooled a little bit, especially off of Pasco, Hernando, Citrus, barely 80 degrees. But out in the Gulf, it's warmer. And then all of these numbers, these +3s, that's 3 to 4 degrees warmer in some of these spots that you see here.
Perfect environment.
And some of those spots, in fact, a lot of these spots you see +3, they're near record warmth.
Yeah.
All right, and that is fuel for the fire. So anything that gets out there has a chance, and some of the models that do show this actually have a good chance. They do show it getting pretty strong. There's some cool air where it is now, cool water I should say, but there's a couple warm spots here. All of this is warmer than normal. But the real warm stuff you can see is over here in the Caribbean. So things are going to have to be watched by that point. Now, another long-term forecast, but let's stretch it out, okay? This is the European model. It would be somewhere down in here, very weak, not developed. This is a week from today. All right? This model says not developed yet, a week from today, but getting close. But look at all this wind shear. That's good. You want
Love
those
to see
colors.
that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, let's go out to a week from this Saturday into Sunday. There's the model saying it's probably about Saturday. There's the low. This is the European that I showed you before. But look at all of this. All of this right here. That is a ton of wind shear. If this just were to come up like this wind shear would shear it. Now, we'd get some weather, right, Colleen?
Correct, yeah.
But we would it would be sheared apart and it would be moving out to sea. All right, it would probably do something like this, and it would be like, here's the circle and there's all the clouds, right? The center sitting right in here and everything's being sheared off to the east like that, okay? So many ups and downs, so many ifs at this particular point. The one thing is, season's not over, and this is an area that we watch for this time of the year, so make sure you stay prepared and make sure you stay updated. And that's what we're going to keep doing here, updating you every day. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more local weather.
Before hurricane season hits, it's time to prep your home. Familiarize yourself with where your water shutoff valve is located. If backflow prevention devices are installed, get them tested annually.
Those are some great tips, and Cool Today is here to help you weather the storm. For over 60 years, we've been here to help Floridians with their cooling, plumbing, and electrical needs. We can help you prepare, protect, and repair your home. Call 888-40-TODAY.
I was driving when a Ford pickup truck barreled into me from behind, sending me to the hospital.
I knew my husband was going to need an excellent attorney, so I called Dan Newland.
I'm so glad my wife called Dan. Dan really fought for me. He won my case and got me $650,000.
If you've been involved in a car accident, allow me to fight for you. Call me now at 813-888-8000.
Thanks, Dan, for winning my husband's case.
This autumn, give your home the upgrade it deserves. Save up to 20% during California Closet's Autumn Upgrade event, making it easier than ever to transform your space with our select finishes. Whether it's a walk-in closet, home office, pantry, or garage, our designs are about more than organization. They're about creating space for what belongs. We call it practical magic, expert design that feels effortless. Visit one of our 3 Tampa Bay showrooms or schedule your complimentary consultation today at CaliforniaClosetsTampaBay.com.
Windows are created and installed with different levels of quality. Unique quality that can withstand the tropical climate. Our installers only install PGT custom windows and doors, so we are the go-to experts. Don't take my word for it. We have been named Best of Tampa Bay 3 years in a row, Reader's Choice in Sarasota 3 years in a row, and nationally recognized as Window and Door Dealer of the Year. Price is what you pay, but value is what you get. Give WeatherTight Windows a call today, and don't forget the cookies.
Okay, welcome back. Before we get into our local weather, we're going to wrap this tropical outlook up. And I wanted to start and show you just kind of like where we are in the season, all right? Because again, we were mentioning how it feels better outside. We've had some cooler air come in, some drier air, but we're still really in a spot where you have to keep an eye on things.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Florida really has an issue with October and tropical systems. We're here, obviously. We're not here with the statistical peak of the activity. But that doesn't, you can see it dwindling, but still, we're still in a good little area that we have to watch. By the way, the next name on the list is Melissa. So now I've been singing Sweet Melissa, but
we're hoping she's sweet.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So
Melissa.
Let me know on my Facebook page, Bobby Deskins Weather, what you feel about that name, because a lot of times people say, well, I knew it was going to rain, that my knee was hurting, and I'm like, well, why didn't you call me? Tell me, text me something. If you know what the weather's going to be, that's my job. I could use the help. So if you have any feelings about Melissa, let us know. Nestor is the next name after that. Hopefully we don't get there. All right. You got
Bobby,
some
something to note.
track.
Yes, something to note too is how far along we are with the names. We really haven't had a ton of names. We're only about halfway through them. But one year that we did manage to get through all the names, we brought up this storm before, Hurricane Ada. That was actually in early November. So looking at the historical track, this is a system that formed in the Caribbean, just as we're watching the Caribbean right now. But then it did this loop-de-loop. I can back out in time.
You're going to have to edit that. I fixed it yesterday, but I had the camera out. There you go.
There it goes. So it eventually made landfall. Well, first made landfall in Nicaragua, and then it did move, kind of snake through the Caribbean there, made landfall again, and when it got to the Florida coast, it was a tropical storm by that point, right, Bobby?
Yep, tropical storm. The yellow lines means tropical storm is right.
Yes, but that was the year that we wound up going into the Greek alphabet because we had so many name systems back in 2020. I also wanted to bring up Hurricane Wilma because Hurricane Wilma was a little bit closer to time to the system that we're looking at now that's trying to form. Again, the tracks are very different. It's just all over the place. The GFS has a little bit further to the east where the system could form. You're a little bit further to the west. But Hurricane Wilma also formed in the Caribbean, and it did that little snake through, hit the tip of the Yucatan, and then eventually made landfall here in southwest Florida, closer to Marco Island, as a Category 3 hurricane, and that was back on October 24th, 2005. So what's that, 20-something years ago, 20 years ago.
20 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So, Hurricane Wilma, I would say a little bit closer to, what we typically see for this time of the year, but also way in the names. I mean, we're only at Melissa, the M names.
Yeah.
So that's pretty interesting too. But it only takes one storm.
And a little side note with that, we used to use the Greek alphabet if we went through all of our names, 26 names in the alphabet, or letters in the alphabet, but I think we only have 21 named storms is what we have. We have 6 lists, and each one of those lists has 21 names in it. And then we have 6 years worth of those. And then if we don't retire the name, like Katrina or Andrew, we come back and we start it again.
Yeah.
All right. And so this is this year's list of names. Right now, because there was a lot of confusion in 2020 when we went that deep into, it's alpha, beta, gamma. Right? It's not C, it's gamma, alpha, beta, gamma, delta.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
people,
delta.
it wasn't even necessarily alphabetical. So it caused a lot of confusion. So what they did, they said, you know what? We're not going to use that anymore.
Yeah.
They threw that out, and now they have a supplemental list of names. It's one list. It's whatever those names are, and that doesn't change unless they get retired. So you could run into that name. You could get into 22 names every year. The 22nd would be the first of the supplemental list. And Anna, I can't remember what the first name is, but you could get Anna every year unless it gets retired, because they're going to use that same list. Just like we used to use Alpha every year that we went and did that. Now, hopefully, there won't be that many years that we do that, but that is where it's at. There's the dry air you were showing there.
Yeah, so one of the things that could determine where these systems go once they do form, which again, we're just looking at it in the Atlantic right now, but eventually once it does make its way into the Caribbean, would we have that trough dip down? So right now we have a nice amount of dry air on top of our area. Another front, although it's weak, moving through our area as we move into this weekend. And we'll get into how that will affect our local weather, not by much. We're hoping for more rain here. But important to note, those troughs that we see this time of the year that carry those fronts, that's kind of our saving grace when it comes to these systems. Or it could push that system, a little bit further to the east or the west. It all depends on the setup. But we're hoping for some weather here because it's been so dry lately. And you can see that moisture that will try to sneak into our region with this upcoming front this weekend. Although it's weak, could get a few showers.
It looks better.
Yeah,
It
Sunday,
looks better
Monday,
than yesterday.
hopefully.
So we're still, I think we're like 20% chance late Sunday and into Monday. Yesterday, if you back that up, the green that went across Florida, that's overall moisture, by the way. That's humidity down here, but it's also clouds up. It's all the way up and down. Yesterday, that fell apart before it got in here. Today and the day before, that's what it looked like. So that's a little bit more consistency. We'll see if it flip-flops again.
Yeah.
But that's still not a lot of rain. And then the dry air behind it is so dry, that next front comes through. And Colleen, this one may be really important because that's late Wednesday night into Thursday on the 23rd and 24th.
Yes.
That one, that high that's coming there, that's going to be over Georgia, that's going to block tropical systems. So that's what some of the models on that particular day right there, they say that the storm goes to the east, to the right side of the screen because of that cold front right there. Right? That front will pick it up and take it out in front of that front. And then some of the models say it goes underneath. And if you go back all the way out, go back up just a little bit.
Oh, I got on to the European one. Sorry.
Oh, yep. No, I meant just slide it back.
No, hold on. This is why I don't drive when we're using the graphics. I have to go back. I don't know about
That's fine.
Bobby. I
That's
think I
fine
lost
right there.
it.
You can see the very top. See the word Sunday up there?
Yeah.
There's a high pressure center right there. All right. Hurricanes act like basically ping pong balls. Basically, they're just floating. Okay, they're kind of floating around those high pressure systems. They're not going to go right into it. So it's all about the timing as to whether or not that front comes down and picks it up. If it doesn't, then the high pressure comes in behind it, and now it's got to go back and around that high pressure. And so even trying to forecast development, do the storms organize? Is the water this? Is there enough shear? Is there less shear? All that kind of stuff. Once you figure that out, then you got to look at the atmosphere around it. Where's it going to go? So there's a lot of variables here, and it's just so much time between now and then. But at the same time, that weather that we're talking about steering this is giving us the cool, dry weather. Or I can't say cool really, but the drier weather. And it looks like that sticks around. Just a small chance Sunday into Monday, and then another chance by the end of next week. So we'll take a break, and then when we come back, we'll talk local forecasts, including your 7-day forecast.
I was involved in a very bad car accident. Called attorney Dan Newland, and it was like 1, 2, 3. Dan really got it done for me. At the end of my case, he got me $525,000.
As one of the largest personal injury law firms in the United States, my team and I remain committed more than ever to win big on your case. Involved in a car accident? Let's get started. Call me at 813-888-8000.
Thank you, Dan, for winning my case.
This autumn, give your home the upgrade it deserves. Save up to 20% during California Closet's Autumn Upgrade event, making it easier than ever to transform your space with our select finishes. Whether it's a walk-in closet, home office, pantry, or garage, our designs are about more than organization. They're about creating space for what belongs. We call it practical magic, expert design that feels effortless. Visit one of our 3 Tampa Bay showrooms or schedule your complimentary consultation today at CaliforniaClosetsTampaBay.com.
Windows are created and installed with different levels of quality. You need quality that can withstand the tropical climate. Our installers only install PGT custom windows and doors, so we are the go-to experts. Don't take my word for it. We have been named Best of Tampa Bay 3 years in a row, Reader's Choice in Sarasota 3 years in a row, and nationally recognized as Window and Door Dealer of the Year. Price is what you pay, but value is what you get. Give WeatherTight Windows a call today, and don't forget the cookies.
With a fresh new look and over 60 years of keeping Floridians comfortable, Cool Today is the name to trust for fast same-day service. Cooling, plumbing, and electrical. Our friendly expert technicians take the hassle out of home repair today. And Cool Today is here for you tomorrow, too. That's why we're introducing a parts and labor warranty on select AC systems for a lifetime. For cooling, plumbing, or electrical service, get the best from today and for years to come. Cool Today.
Okay, welcome back. Let's talk your local forecast. Still pretty quiet out there. Satellite and radar is showing mainly clear skies and no rain out there, right? Most areas are dry. We had a couple little green spots on the radar there, but we don't expect any rain this evening. Temperatures overnight into tomorrow morning, a little bit warmer than what they have been. These are the wake-up temps. 63 in Brooksville, 61 in Crystal River. Those numbers were closer to 59 this morning.
Yeah.
And Tampa's
still not bad.
Yeah,
63.
definitely not bad, but a little bit warmer. And then tomorrow we're back into the mid to some upper 80s. Sunshine.